Hello, are you there? Hi there, can you hear me, Elizabeth? Hi there.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. We are actually getting ready to go live right now.
Okay,
So
great.
hang tight for just a minute.
Yes.
And we'll kick things off. All right, here we go. Let me tag you also and
Okay, good.
live with Elizabeth. Okay, here we go. All right. Hello, everyone. Ivan Tamilkov here. Thank you so much for tuning into Jigs and Puzzles episode number 3 for a late edition on this Friday. If this is your first time tuning into the show, this is a lifestyle show that is about life, family, and business. And I'm excited today to have Elizabeth joining me because Elizabeth is someone who she has been interacting with my YouTube channel. She has been following me on social media. I've been wanting to chat with her for some time. So Elizabeth, welcome. How are you?
Great, sounds good. And you, how you doing?
I am doing very well. It's this is an exception. It's a late edition of the show. It typically airs a lot earlier in the day on Fridays, but you know, when you have things happen in life, you just have to rearrange things, right? And just make the best of it. So this is an episode of that. Other than that, I think I might want to have some sunshine outside. It's really gloomy outside. It's cold. I think there's some snow on the way too. And I got to tell you, I think I'm so over it. I think the white Christmas was enough for me. Or at this point, I think I'm ready for some warm air. How about you? What's going on with you today?
Well, thank you for the invitation today. And here is beautiful. It's Florida, the Sunshine State. That means the weather is great today.
Very cool. Well, Elizabeth, here's kind of what we do on the show, and the reason I wanted to have you on the show is, you know, I wanted to hear your story. You know, you have a very interesting story. I know very bits and pieces of it. So let's start off with tell us a little bit about Elizabeth. Tell us about, you know, what got you to what you're doing today. What's your background? What's your story? Tell us a little bit about that.
Born in Philadelphia in 1963, and in 1969, my parents took me to their country. My birth family were Puerto Ricans, and my step family as well. I was in a hospital when I was 8 months old, and a lady went over there. I was a foster child at the time. I was not for adoption, but she insisted that she wants to take me to her house. And then with her, my foster parents, we went to Puerto Rico, and I was raised over there. And in 1998, I come back to the United States, but to Florida. Puerto Rico is part of the United States as well, but we speak Spanish over there.
Right.
I came again. I came to live here in the state of Florida in 1998. Got married and have two girls after that. One in 1999 and one in 2002. And
Congratulations.
yes, thank you. And I went. I was living in Palm Beach. Palm Beach Gardens, and from there I moved to a small town called Okeechobee County, Florida. And in 2003, I get a job as an interpreter in it was like a clinic to help people with problems of drug addiction of drugs, alcohol, and batters intervention program. But after 4 to 5 years, I got certified as a VIP facilitator, and we had a lot of plans to start a halfway house with my boss, and I was going to be the leader together with him and another therapist, Steve Condick, but he died. And when he died, my life did a big turn, a change, and I started struggling to find a job. Then I divorced the father of my daughters, and I started working in the fields in agriculture. And I never worked this kind of job before. And from there, it starts my struggle. And there in 2013 is born Honorable Enterprises. You know how it is. You go through tribulation, through hardship, and then you give birth to a concept, an idea.
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Absolutely. So Honorable Enterprises, you said a couple of years ago is when you started that. Is that correct?
In 2013.
Oh, in 2013. Okay, in 2013. So what? And I know when me and you first connected, I know you mentioned a little bit about Honorable Enterprises, but can you share a little bit about what that is and what the focus is and what you guys are trying to accomplish there?
Yes. I started by myself. Was a vision, and it started to change while years went by, and I started to be more involved in the community. My project, this plan, this dream at the beginning was one, and today is completely different, like everything else, no? And I start seeing that a lot of people was not educated, starting with my own person. And then I realized that to leave a better future for our future generations, for our community, for our family, in my perspective, we should be prepared in 3 areas. That is mindset, health, and finances. When your mind is right, of course, your health is going to be great, and you can organize your life in a financial way. And because I'm in a small town and I can interact easier with people, I start seeing the different necessities, and that's how I try to educate people in those 3 areas.
So you mentioned a couple of very, very important things. So you were talking about the mind, the body, and health, right? That was the third one. It's really interesting that you mentioned this because I'm a big fan of those 3 things: mind, body, and health. And here's why: is for instance, let's take Oprah, who everyone knows, right? Oprah Winfrey, right? The one thing that Oprah has really invested in significantly is just that: mind, body, and health. And here's why. Is if you just want to live a better life, if you want to be happier, or if you want to build a business, if you want to be an entrepreneur, these are the 3 most essential things that everyone has to have, right? Is you got to have a solid mind, you got to take care of your body, and you got to take care of your health also. Because the one thing, especially in business, and this is something that I try to talk about on this show, is that when you're trying to, do life and family and business and doing all in one, it can be very, very hard to do. So you have to have a sharp mind. You got to take care of your body as well, so you're physically ready to take on the challenges. And then health is extremely important because that helps you build endurance. As a matter of fact,
Yes.
I interviewed someone recently on the show. He was talking about how health and wellness are such an intricate part, and how they play a factorial role within, especially entrepreneurs. So how do you, work with, who are the types of people that you work with, the buyer personas with Honorable Enterprises, in helping them sharpen their mind, body, and health?
Yes. Remember, like I said, it's going to be mindset, health, and finances. You know how things are. When you are committed to do something, when you really want to make a difference, impact the world, when you are not just driven by your personal gain, but to help other people, things start to align in a way that it gives you the right avenue to get to that dream that you have. Like I said, it's going to be mindset, health, and finances. Like a year ago or so, I started to connect with people through social media, with entrepreneurs, with like-minded people, and it has been a blessing for me. It is this live broadcast. I found out because since 2013, I do videos, and I posted in Facebook, in YouTube, and that's the way I started to share my message with my community and my family. But about 2 years ago, I was going to go and do one of my videos. I was staying in Tennessee at the time, working over there. And when I going to do my video, it says live. And I say live, and I push that button. And then I start seeing the interaction of the people.
Right.
And I say, oh my goodness, then that means that they are watching me like real time.
Right.
And that's the way it started, nobody trained me for that. I was already doing videos, and that's the way I started to connect with a lot of entrepreneurs.
So you mentioned something that, as a marketer, as an entrepreneur, as a coach, as a humanitarian, that I'm a big advocate of, and that is that I think the barrier of entry is so low that anybody can do it. Like you were talking about hitting that live button, and there's two types of people that I run across. They're like the types that are like, I'm afraid to hit live because I expose myself to everyone. There's the type of people that just can't wait to go live because they have a bunch of stuff to share, right?
Yes.
But I think, what live has done is created a platform, an opportunity for expression. And the beauty about that is just that as human beings, we have so much to express about. We have so much to share. And that's what something like Facebook Live does, is provides people like you and me a platform and the ability to converse and exchange information. And this is why ever since Facebook Live came about, has been such a huge driver for communication for a lot of people. It's not just entrepreneurs. And I think what a lot of people, even to this day, are not realizing is that the immense amount of opportunity there is by just going live, and talking to people. For instance, if it wasn't for Facebook Live, chances are me and you probably wouldn't be talking right now, because the reality of things is, I don't know if a lot of people actually call people these days, unless you have a specific intent. I know that, like some millennials won't even place phone calls because they like to interact on social media, and that's their preferred means of communication. Or they might do like a video call, kind of like what we're doing right now. So it's really, really interesting what you were talking about, how you're working with different businesses and entrepreneurs, and helping them strengthen their mind, their body, their health also, because like you said, having good health, boasts a lot of energy, right? And the more energy that you have, the more proactive you can be in your endeavors. Like, oh my God, before I even got into entrepreneurship, I used to run across these entrepreneurs and I'll be like, how do you like do this? Like 14, 16, 18-hour days, and then just grinding and grinding and grinding. And, I'm someone who's been passionate about digital and digital media since I was 14 years old. That's what I've done for a majority of my life, but I could never really like encapsulate in my mind, how do you get up every morning and start off a day like most entrepreneurs? I think Grant Cardone was one that I recently mentioned on social media, that one of his daily goals is to beat the sun. Every day, regardless of what time zone that he is in, he wants to beat the sun. Because if he beats the sun by getting up before the sun, he feels a sense of accomplishment. And that feels really good. It's probably one of the best feelings in the world. So it's interesting that you said about, so let's talk a little bit more about, what are you currently doing? How are you evolving the brand? What are some specific things that you're focusing on, some platforms?
Yes, like I was saying, when you are destined to do something, when your life should take certain path and you surrender to that higher power or to the universe or however you want to call it, things start to unfold in your life to take you towards that dream that you have and make it into a reality. And I was working, like I said, in the fields, working in landscaping, because that's the kind of jobs that are in this small town, because agriculture is what they focusing. Everything else is 1 hour from my home. And I started working in landscaping and I got hurt. And then when I was in landscaping, I was working 6 days a week from 6 a.m. to 6:30. And then I start to think, how I going to do honorable enterprises if I'm just working and working? And the answer came, and I got hurt, and they laid me off anyway. And one day I'm looking at Ken Walls, somebody I admire and follow in social media, and he was bringing a message of surrender. Then hours after, I tune in for Terras Freeman, another person I follow and met in person when he was here in Florida, and he was talking about the same subject, surrender. Then I realized that I have to surrender, that I have to wait and don't worry how I gonna make a living, because everything is gonna line up for my advantage, for what I need, if I surrender, if I have faith that I'm being guided, in my life by a higher power. Is my
absolutely.
And like a month after, I stay in my house. I didn't want to talk with nobody. I didn't want to, people told me, come to my house. And I said, no, I want to stay with myself. I believe in prayer. Other people believe in meditation, but I use prayer. And I say, I want to pray. I want to be by myself. A month after, a lady contacted me and want to make friends with me in social media. I look at her profile and I accepted her friendship, even though she didn't have any friend in common with me. And she wanted to meet me, and I went to town and met her. And she's a speaker, and she's a book writer, and she was in Las Vegas, and she moved here because she wanted to start and she wanted to help. She wanted to start a new life, and she wanted to help people. And when I sit down with her, my dream is aligned with what she wants to do. And because she's a business owner and have been in this kind of field for so many years, she is helping me to organize, to make my plan. And we are working together with a Star Choir, that is a media content production company, somebody that I was working with. And she's the one that is guiding me and telling me what I have to do in order to make this dream a reality. and we are in that process. We want to do an international activity here with food and music, because here, because it's a small town, but everybody have their own niche, like African Americans do their own thing, Hispanics do their own thing, and I want to bring everybody together. That way we get to know each other, our different cultures, and from that activity we want to do also an activity where we're going to have speakers, and we're going to help people, because I don't want just speakers to come and talk and leave. I want them to help us and guide us through the hand, especially my local entrepreneurs. That way we can continue inspiring people to do well and to make their dreams come true, in other words.
You mentioned a few important things that I wanted to expand upon a little bit. You were talking about how first of all, you were talking about depression, which depression is a really, really big issue with a lot of entrepreneurs, especially around the holidays. I had no idea that, especially at end of the year, Christmas and New Year's, it's actually one of the highest peak times when depression tends to hit with a lot of entrepreneurs, because it's end of year, you're a lot more cognizant and more subconscious about what's going on. A lot of entrepreneurs start thinking about their accomplishments and what they've done in that year. So that's really interesting. You talked about depression. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is that, so with a lot of entrepreneurs, I think what they worry about is, I think they worry about how to start. So they have maybe a passion or they want to do something, but so many entrepreneurs are worried about, how do I start, right? Well, the best way to start is to just start, right? Is just just start actually doing it, right? Because something that Gary Vaynerchuk, talks about, that I'm a huge fan of, is just that, how do you become good at something? Well, you become a practitioner. And the way to become a practitioner is by, actually taking action and doing something. Because I think a lot of entrepreneurs maybe have the willpower, but 99% of those entrepreneurs just don't have the capability to take action. And that's the hardest part, because they're overthinking, they're overanalyzing. So like you were saying, which I'm really excited about what you're doing with this brand and helping other entrepreneurs, helping them strengthen their mind, body, and health also, because a lot of entrepreneurs need to understand that those are probably the three first and foremost things that you need to strengthen. But, on the other side of this too, which, I also wanted to ask you is, so you're an entrepreneur, you're building a brand. One thing that I really strive for with this show is just that I question from guests, how do you see life, family, and your business, being affected by all of this? Because I think that's one of the things that a lot of entrepreneurs don't talk about enough, is just that, you start a brand or you pursue a passion, right? Let's say you start, right? And you start taking action. But what kind of effects does that take on your life, on family, on business? What have been your experiences with life, family, and business as you've been working towards building this brand?
Yes, I think is, in my personal opinion, my first concern was this. I want people, starting my daughters, to have the knowledge that I didn't have growing up. In other words, I was not knowledgeable about these areas. And as I grew older, I would think, what I gonna leave behind, what I gonna leave for my daughters that can be useful for them, but at the same time for my community, because I have been, my parents used to flip houses in Puerto Rico, and I was not in the same place all the time. We moved a lot, and I wanted to bring some stability to my daughters, and that's why I live here for 18 years already. But I want to give them the tools that I didn't have growing up to be successful at a young age. Today I'm 54, and I know I could accomplish a lot more if I had the knowledge in these different areas, mindset, health, and finances. And I see that in my community as well. I see a lot of businesses that they open, and then few months after, a year after, 2 years after, it's closed. Why? Because they don't have the information they need to succeed. And that's, it's something that I felt I have to do something, and sometimes I think that people always is complaining, why things are always negative in social media, why things are negative in TV, why people don't appreciate. It's because it starts with us, if we make the change that we want to see in the world, then we're going to see that change. It's going to happen,
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to believe. I think one of the things that you're really pushing here is you have to believe. As someone who was, speaking of myself, who was labeled an introvert, someone who always was kind of like, other people would say, no, wait your turn, or, otherwise wouldn't support and encourage me in what I did. I saw a lot of that, a lot of people that were in disbelief and negativity. And, the best advice that I have probably learned is to associate yourself with people that support and encourage you, that have a similar mindset, that have a similar goal, or maybe people that are just positive, that support you unconditionally, regardless of what it is that you're doing. They're just positive thinkers, people that have belief and know that, anyone that has ever changed the world has just done it. They've gone after it. Some people have even given up everything, put everything on the line just to make it happen. And this is one of the things that I talk about on this show, and that's why I was so excited to have you come on, is because it sounds like you're someone who has literally put everything on the line, life, family, the idea of a business, to pursue something that you're very, very passionate about. And, I think that's what makes a really great entrepreneur too, is someone who goes all in on it, someone who holds nothing back. And that's why, there's the delineation between the doers and the talkers, right? Is the doers actually do it, and these are the people that succeed. And there's the talkers who are constantly talking, but never taking action, right? Like they might be, and you see a lot of this in social media. You have people who might come across as very positive, very enthusiastic, very optimistic. They might be very encouraging. They're getting a bunch of likes, a bunch of views, and so on and so forth. But, all the background of all of these, these people are very enclosed. They're not necessarily like 100% all into what they're doing, just kind of doing it to basically create a fictitious exposure. You see a lot of that in social media. And then there's a lot of people like you and myself who, we truly believe in what we do. This is something that we do every day, like what you're doing with Honorable Enterprises and the types of people that you meet. And by the way, I think that what you're doing with your brand is enormous. I mean, I think it's just a matter of time, before people truly recognize the value of it. I was talking to a couple yesterday who does emotional and spiritual healing. And one of the things that, that we're talking about is just that, we're on the topic of who's your buyer persona and who do you work with, right? So, well, we most commonly have a lot of C-level folks, right, that come to us that are seeking like emotional and spiritual help, that struggle with depression and anxiety maybe, and so on and so forth. So I think what you bring to the table has an immense amount of value on the personal development side. And that's something that a lot of people, especially at the C level, just don't appreciate enough, because you need to have personal development. You need to take care of yourself. You need to have the energy. You need to have the positive mindset in order to be able to do the things that you want to do. Guys like, Elon Musk and, Bill Gates, for instance, just among some of the most successful people in the world, these are people that invest a lot in personal development. I think Oprah is even one that mentions that she has this routine every day where, she does meditation also, or, she might read, or, she might talk to a friend, just something that starts off the day in a positive way, where it can set the tone and the mood for whatever that it is that you are doing. So with that being said, let's chat a little bit about what are you doing in social media right now? How are you trying to connect with the right people? What are some of the channels that you are utilizing the most?
Yes, for me, Facebook is the one that I'm utilizing the most right now. It's like everything else. You have to, little by little, some can do it, can go all in. Others take time, we start with whatever we have available. And one day we can adjust something, and tomorrow another tool, little by little we adjust things and start sharing more and more. It's like Grant Cardone, like Gary B, and all these entrepreneurs that we follow. They started with some things, and then they continue, building up. Like Grant Cardone didn't used to do these reunions, 10x. His first one was last year. He's having his second one now. And it's the same. We cannot get discouraged. Sometimes a lot of people want things to happen now, immediately, but it's not going to happen this way. You have to be, we start building up little by little. It's like a muscle, and some can do a lot of different exercises, but others do yoga, and and you start building up little by little. That means right now, Facebook is the one that I'm using the most for sharing my message.
Very cool. Very cool. You mentioned something that I think it's extremely important to expand upon is it's instant gratification. Now, as someone who, I was in the marketing industry for a long period of time, over a decade. I've been a digital guy for over 2 decades now also. And here's a lot of what I'm seeing with other entrepreneurs. It's like they want it to happen right away. Like they want to explode onto the scene and become the Gary Vee or the Andy Frisella or, anyone else who's very, very successful, the Grant Cardones and the Ed Milett's or everyone else. And it just doesn't happen that way. There's like this old saying, right, that anything that's worthwhile takes time. And I think that a lot of people are just not in the right mindset to understand that anything that's going to be successful, that it's going to take time. You got to plan for long term. And this is something specifically that I personally do on the business side is that, I turn down opportunities, when people come to me and they're looking to make a quick buck. Right? They want to turn something around very quickly. And I turn it down because I'm just in disbelief. It's kind of like, I'd like to take your money because you pay me for services. But in all honesty, I just don't believe in the humanization, the personalization of that. And you were talking about, the reason I asked you what social platform of choice you use currently, and you said Facebook. And that validated to me, and actually was talking to someone earlier today who, was like, well, Facebook's just not my platform. I can't get into it. And, what I told them is like, look, I made 100 friends alone in the month of December on Facebook. That has been the most active month in the 13-year history that I've been on Facebook. And here's why. I think that we live in a day and age of personalization. An experience. Like the reason people will send you a friend request on Facebook, like you were saying earlier, is this lady out of the blue sent you a friend request, right? And you're like, you look through her profile and you were like, well, we don't have any mutual friends, right? So most people would hit delete, right, on the friend request because you have no familiarity, right? You have no common interest, right? You don't have any mutual friends. But the reason why people do that is they want an insight into your world. And Facebook is the best platform to do that. Not because Facebook has 2 billion users. I mean, that has something to do with it because they have clout and reputation and brand equity. But it's the only platform that's the most interactive. And that's why it boasts so much opportunity. Like you said, I mean, nowadays, people that have a Facebook profile can start a business because the availability is there. But the challenge is how to create that strategy, right? Is how to do it. I mean, if it was as easy as, creating a Facebook profile or a Facebook business page, everyone will be doing it, right? But the challenge is to figure out the strategy, the implementation, execution. I mean, these are 3 things that, the guys like Gary Vee and Grant Cardone and anyone else in the business that's made it will tell you is just that you got to have a plan. Without a plan, you're wasting your money, you're wasting your time. And the quicker you realize that is any plan. It doesn't have to be the most feasible plan, just a plan, because it's about the process. You got to have that process in place. So I'm glad that you were talking about, Facebook and the social platforms of choice. And you mentioned a lot of cool things. I'm really excited to continue following you. And I know that one of the things that I would love to also do is maybe even interview you for my YouTube channel as well, because I have an exclusive. By the way, for those of you that are watching, youtube.com/Ivan Tamalkov as well. If you haven't checked out my YouTube channel, I know, Elizabeth, you've been an avid user of my YouTube channel, so thank you so much. I truly, truly appreciate it and connecting with you there. So with that being said, I'm really, really excited about what you're doing with your brand, and, would love to help in any way possible to help you skyrocket. I mean, I think you're going to crush it. It's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. Yes. You've already been doing a lot of great things. So if people want to connect with you, what's the best way to connect with you, to stay in touch, to communicate?
Of course, Facebook. I have also YouTube, but I haven't used it yet. I used to do it for when the commissioners are running here in their campaigns, or other people from the government. I did interviews and share it with the community, because I want my community to be informed. But now that I want this dream to be a plan and to continue working on it, that is Honorable Enterprises, I'm going to start utilizing YouTube. I have LinkedIn. I have Twitter. Is what I'm doing, learning. And I want to say something. I feel privileged to contact with you. I privileged that you have requested I don't know if I requested or you request me, but
absolutely.
I wanted to connect with people like you, because your message resonates with me a lot, because we have to be transparent. We have to take care of our reputation. My community knows me for 18 years, and especially since 2013 that I'm really involved. And I share my house, I share my car, I share my life, And why? Because I want to show them that if you have a dream, you have to follow through and continue until it's going to happen, And you cannot, like you said, it's not going to be from one day to the other. It takes years, it takes time. Probably to others, it takes less than years, but always it's something in the background that you have been working until you can get there where you want to be. That means the people I want to connect is people like you, people that care about their reputation, that they are transparent, that they are real, that they really care of their human fellow, of another human being, that is not just for their personal gain, or it's not because they think I'm going to take money from this person, or like you said, you didn't help somebody because you are not about the money. You are about being real and doing things right. And I think those are the people that are successful. It's my thought that if you are like that, you are successful, and you're going to accomplish any dream you put your mind into.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said any better. You were talking about putting people first. That was actually something that I shared on my Facebook profile, is always put people first. If you put people first, magic will truly happen. And I have to give a shout out to my friend Jason, who I have this wristband. I'm going to see if I can put it up on here so people can see. It says 100 to 1 right here. And what that really means is always give more than what you ask for, and always give people so much value. And this is something that I've seen a tremendous amount of success, because I've just been doing it out of the fact that I care. And a lot of people are so surprised by this, honestly. Like when I talk to prospective clients, because a lot of what I do is digital media, on the business side, is a lot of people are blown away that, I answer text messages, I answer phone calls, I answer emails. They might text me at 3:00 in the morning, and I'll still answer. you know? So the reality of things is actually caring, actually giving a shit, you know? And one thing that I've even told many people is that even if my business was to ever skyrocket, I will always, always, always put people first. I will always be accessible. I will always want to have phone calls like people like you. And this is precisely why, you know, I had a guest who canceled on me today, and, you know, immediately my mind started jogging, and I'm like, who could I invite on the show? Who could I invite on the show? And then I'm like, oh my God, you look no further, Elizabeth. Like, we've been trying to connect for so long. And honestly, the honor is mine. I'm very humbled that you actually set time out of your day to sit down and jam with me, because the one thing that I truly, truly appreciate is having other people like you who share their stories. And this is in part why this is a lifestyle show, because it focuses on life, family, and business. And it talks about, and in essence, also attests to what other people are doing to fulfill their dreams, to fulfill their goals, you know, and visions. So I'm truly humbled that you actually took the time. You know, the honor is mine, you know, because it was a phenomenal conversation. Thank you so much for joining. I'm excited to continue following you on social media and stay in touch and find ways that I can help you grow your brand. If there's anything that I can do. With that being said, in closing, I just wanted to mention a couple of things to everyone watching. Make sure you follow Elizabeth. She is a phenomenal person. And if you don't even know anything about Elizabeth, and I hope you watch the replay of the show. If this is your first time tuning in, the Jigs and Puzzles Facebook Live show is also available on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/Ivan Tamokov. So this recording will be available soon on that channel. It airs every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:30 a.m. Central Standard Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Elizabeth, I truly appreciate your time once again, and I hope that you have a phenomenal weekend, and I look forward to staying in touch with you. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Okay, are you still there?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, I just cut the Facebook live stream on there, so that was kind of the closing, doing my end spiel as well. You know, that was a phenomenal story, honestly. I'm so glad that you were, I mean, again, not to sound repetitive, but having you on, I mean, this what drives me, Elizabeth. This is exactly what I get excited about. You know, the shout out that I gave to was my friend Jason Howland, who's a sales guy. Definitely follow him on Facebook. He's a phenomenal individual, phenomenal. You know, and one thing that really, really excited me is that one thing that he really brought out in me that I think I had, but I didn't truly acknowledge, was that he has always been in my DNA to want to have conversations with other like-minded people like you.
Yes.
You know, seeing you grow. I mean, I have no doubt in my mind you're going to crush it with this business, honestly. It's just a matter of time to find your footing. You got to find your footing. You know, you got to find, you know, what works and what doesn't. And, you know, this is something that I'm also doing with my business, is that, you know, being 2 years almost now into a startup look, I didn't even get into, you know, some of the deeper stuff of like the challenges that you run into, family, you know, having kids and all of that. And this is something that I'm more and more pushing into the show. That's why I mentioned, you know, life, family, and businesses, because as an entrepreneur, a lot of people don't understand the nuances that go into this. Like how many sacrifices you have to make sometimes also just to fulfill your dream, you know? And I know that you went through some of those, you know, challenges, like with your divorce and all that. And that'll put a halt on a lot of people, you know? It'll make them question, you know, the reality that they're in. So I'm truly excited. I know you invited me to your group. I'm trying to stay on top of everything, you know, to follow you, you know, just so you know. Don't ever hesitate to reach out, you know, just even send a message, or, you know, because one of the things that I'm finding now is this, as fortunately my business is starting to grow, is just that I'm trying to find ways how to remain even more plugged. Like I don't want to detach from people like you who, you know, I converse with maybe even on a daily basis sometimes, you know, because that is what I truly enjoy in. Like something I mentioned to my friend Jason, I said, look, long term, I would probably love to do sales and just talk to people, honestly. Like, I would love to have, a social media person doing social media marketing for my business, and a content writer and a web developer and all this, right? But what I would love to do is having more and more of these conversations with people like you, because that's what makes my heart warm. Literally, that's what drives me. That's what excites me. That's what I wake up for every day.
I would like you to contact the person. I want to tell you this way. I was working with Henry Weiss. Okay. He have a startup. I sent you the link, but I'm gonna send it again. Okay. He's a really professional man, and what he is doing is gonna be really something big, and I want you to contact with him, because he's not like us. We are really into social media, into connecting with people, and he is more the digital part of it, the going to the businesses and offering his services. But he don't do websites, but he did my website to help me because I was working with him. But now he's gonna help me like to monetize the website. Okay. But I would like somebody like you that is involved in social media and that can guide me. He can help me like to do the podcast or something like that, but I need somebody that is more active in social media, like you and me. Like I do comments. A lot of people now